Talk today about one of the most, I'm not gonna say dangerous, but injury, accident, kind of crappy things I think a lot of people do without knowing it here in CrossFit or in weightlifting or in any sort of weight training type of a setting. Are you ready for it? Okay, it's this move. The little head tilt Pez dispenser. I'm gonna shoot up my candy for my neck move. That's super common, and it's common both in the immediate or a quick movement like that, especially in pull-ups. I'm starting to hurt my neck just making that motion. But it's super common in pull-ups, which I'll get to in a little bit on why that's a big problem. But most of all, but a lot of the time, it's really common in all the other lifts that we do. Like if we're doing kettlebell swings, I see this a lot, where people will hinge forward and everything else is great, but their eyes are up and they're looking forward. A lot of it's from shitty weightlifting coaches in football, in the high school weight room, no offense. But most of the time I've heard a lot of people come in and say, oh, my football coach told me that when I'm squatting or I'm deadlifting, I'm supposed to look up where I want to go. So people squat like this and they're looking up, and it's really, basically your spinal column is the nerve. It's the super highway of all of your signals that go to the rest of your body from your brain. So as you're closing this off, you're not only causing problems structurally, posturally, but you're also you're shutting off that nerve canal. So again, you can probably see where that's a big problem, especially on things that require high muscle fiber recruitment, like doing Olympic weightlifting. And on your start, people will sit there and I'm not quite going all the way to depth because I want to stay in the frame here. But they'll have their start position real, they'll get down low and they'll have their head up high, looking up. And again, as they're in that position here, you can see on my next crick and forward. So, as you're doing all sorts of movements through here, make sure wherever your chest is facing, your face should be facing. So as you're doing kettlebell swings, you should be tilting this way. You don't necessarily, and I think this is where things get a little squirrely for people, you don't necessarily, your eyes don't have to follow your face. In other words, as I go down, I don't have to do this thing and look and change my gaze all the time. I think it's good to find a spot and focus on that spot for balance. So, but that means then I can still find a spot, I usually will do 20 feet in front of me, and I'll find a spot and I'll hinge and I'll look at that spot and I'll just keep my eyes focused on that spot. Should probably bring the camera down, maybe you can see where my eyes are looking a little bit better. But I think the point is there. And then most importantly, and I think the worst offense of this for people in here is with pull-ups. It's this they'll pull, and they want to get that very extra little movement, or that extra little range of motion. They'll do this to get that range of motion. So pull. You can I can imagine that you can, without even getting into the physiology, anatomy, and structure of everything, I can imagine that if you're having to go for a full max effort, this is your final rep of the set, you haven't been able to quite get up there, you're straining with all your might, squeezing with every muscle in your body, and then you do this move, I bet you can imagine how impactful that can be on your body. And I'm gonna splice in some picture of me. I happen to be my only model in the gym right now. You'll happen to find me shirtless right here, already there. In this picture that it's an entirely different position. The first picture, I am craning my neck, just barely getting over the bar, kind of squeaking over the bar. And in the second picture, I'm all the way over the bar, chin down and forward. And you can recognize both. My elbows are in a totally different position, my scapulars are in a totally different position, and my upper back musculature is in a totally different position. So how that relates then down the line is, yes, if you're doing pull-ups in a competition, technically, if your chin goes over the bar, you've done a pull-up for your rep. But I would argue the fact that if you're a competitive athlete and you're having to crane your neck to get a pull-up or a couple pull-ups, you're probably not that competitive an athlete. And I don't mean to be an asshole of that. It's just that I'd rather you focus on longevity and long-term success, and the fact that most of the time, especially if you're in a competitive setting, it's going to be a chest-to-bar pull-up, and you're going to need to get that extra full range of motion. So if you're eking out pull-ups and you're satisfied with your ability to get repetitions and pull-ups, by having to crane your neck, that's the way you want to do it. fine, but realize that you're missing out on a full couple of inches of range of motion to do them effectively, and to do them by eventually getting up to all the way for your chest to the bar. So hopefully this all helps. A good drill, and you're gonna look silly, but hopefully after watching this, there's a couple people that do that, and I think us as coaches, we're gonna start cueing you and having you do this. But to take a lacrosse ball, or we even have a couple bigger instruments or bigger balls over there that you can put underneath your chin and tuck it into your chest. I read Eric Cressy just posted something really a great post on Facebook about making a double chin as you are lifting, as you're making your lifts. Make it that double chin. That's gonna be fine. It's gonna pack that down in there. No offense to those of you with more than a chin or two, but I think that's a good way to do that, just to kind of make sure your posture is all in alignment, especially as you're doing pull-ups, straight up, straight down. Don't cheat that extra little bit for your reps. You're doing much longer term damage or harm, or slowing your progress down overall to get out that little extra inch. So what that means is use some more bands, use some more assistance, whatever you need to do to get them all the way up and over, fully locked out, chin down, eyes forward, chin over the bar type on your pull-ups. All right, I hope that helps. Let's focus on that. Even if that means you got to step down to a new band, step down to whatever, then that's totally fine. It'll be much, much, much better long term.